Commander Jack Thornhill stared at the official summons, then at his superior, then back at the piece of paper that would apparently determine humanity's galactic fate.
You want me to do what now?
Jack asked, voice flat with disbelief. Admiral Patel sighed. For the third time, Commander. You and your team have been selected as Earth's representatives to the Galactic Council. But why us? We're not diplomats. Hell, Rodriguez once started a bar fight because someone said tequila was overrated. The Council specifically requested a representative sample of humanity, Patel explained, making air quotes that did nothing to clarify the situation. They want to understand our species better before granting full membership. Jack rubbed his temples. So instead of sending actual diplomats, we're sending, what exactly? A decorated military commander with advanced tactical training, a communications specialist with 7 languages under his belt, a technical genius with 3 PhDs, and a security expert who can kill someone with a paper clip. Admiral Patel smiled thinly. You're the best we've got. That's terrifying. That's humanity. 3 days later, Jack found himself on an FTL transport with his diplomatic team, Lieutenant Mira Rodriguez, Communications Officer Ben Murphy, and Dr. Vera Blackwood. None of them looked particularly diplomatic in their hastily tailored formal suits. So Murphy said, scrolling through his datapad, apparently most Galactic Council species evolved as herd herbivores on predator-free worlds. Meaning? Jack asked. Meaning they're basically cosmic deer who developed opposable thumbs and warp drives without ever experiencing natural selection via getting eaten. Blackwood clarified. They find predatory behaviors deeply disturbing. Rodriguez snorted. Do they know humans are basically hairless murder apes whose evolutionary strategy was chase things until they die of exhaustion, then eat them? That information was diplomatically omitted from our species profile, Murphy admitted. Well, Jack said, adjusting his uncomfortable formal collar, this should be interesting. Earth didn't send diplomats. They sent apex predators in suits. As their ship approached the gleaming silver council station, none of them realized just how prophetic those words would be. The council station's docking bay was a testament to advanced engineering and terrible aesthetic choices. Everything was painted in soothing pastels that reminded Jack of a pediatrician's waiting room. Welcome representatives of Earth, trilled a being that looked like the unfortunate offspring of a giraffe and a jellyfish. It wore what appeared to be a ceremonial poncho covered in blinking lights. I am Ambassador Fluzel, your protocol liaison. Jack smiled broadly and extended his hand. Commander Jack Thornhill, pleased to meet you. Fluzel shrieked and backpedaled so quickly it collided with 2 other officials. The room erupted in alarmed chittering. What did I do? Jack whispered to Murphy. You bared your teeth and tried to grab him, Murphy muttered. 2 herbivores. That's basically saying I'm going to eat you now. Fantastic, Jack sighed. Rodriguez stepped forward attempting to salvage the situation. We come in peace, she announced, making direct eye contact with the council representatives. This only made things worse. 3 more aliens fainted. Direct eye contact is a predatory targeting behavior, Blackwood explained through a fixed smile. Maybe just look at the floor. The next hour was an exercise in humiliation as Fluzel, who had recovered from the initial shock, guided them through basic interaction protocols. No eye contact, no showing teeth, no sudden movements, no touching, no standing at full height. Perhaps, Fluzel suggested delicately, its neck tentacles quivering, you could all hunch down and shuffle, it would appear less threatening. By the time they reached the diplomatic quarters, Jack felt like he'd been auditioning for a community theater production of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is ridiculous, Rodriguez complained once they were alone. We're tiptoeing around like we're made of nitroglycerin. Did you see how they reacted when Murphy sneezed? Blackwood asked. I thought that blue one was going to liquefy from fear. Murphy looked miserable. I'm allergic to something in this station, probably all the spores these plant eaters are giving off. A melodious chime interrupted them, followed by Fluzel's voice. Esteemed Earth delegates, your presence is requested at the formal welcome banquet in 1 hour. Please remember no teeth. Jack stared at his reflection in the polished metal wall. They want us to eat without showing our teeth. Has anyone here ever tried to eat soup with their lips clamped shut? Maybe we should just photosynthesize instead, Rodriguez suggested dryly. Seems like that would make everyone more comfortable. None of them realized that the diplomatic disaster had only just begun. The banquet hall resembled a botanical garden that had collided with a Las Vegas casino. Bioluminescent plants pulsed in time with ambient music while various species of aliens mingled awkwardly, all carefully maintaining what Jack now recognized as non-predatory distances from one another. Remember, Fluzel instructed as they entered. Small movements, closed mouths, And for the love of all that photosynthesizes, do not comment on anyone's frond coloration. They're what? Jack asked. Just smile with your eyes, not your teeth, Murphy translated, before immediately contradicting himself with a massive sneeze. 3 delegates from the Vesperian Confederation scattered like startled pigeons. Sorry, Murphy sniffled. Allergies. Floozel's tentacles turned a mottled purple that Jack assumed wasn't a good sign. Please follow me to your designated consumption area. The consumption area turned out to be a low table surrounded by cushions made from something uncomfortably similar to living moss. Each place setting featured what appeared to be a shallow bowl of lawn clippings. Your Earth profile indicated you consume plant matter, Floozel explained proudly. We have provided traditional Galactic Council welcome fare, fermented grassweed with nutrient pollen. Rodriguez poked at the pile with what might have been a fork or possibly a small rake. Looks delicious. Jack stared at his plate. The food looked like someone had mowed a golf course and dumped the results directly into his bowl, but diplomacy was diplomacy. He took a conservative bite, trying to chew without showing his teeth. It tasted exactly like it looked like wet grass clippings with a hint of compost. Jack lied. Tasty. Blackwood, ever practical, had smuggled emergency ration bars and was discreetly nibbling one under the table. Murphy wasn't so lucky. His already irritated sinuses reacted violently to the pollen-laden meal. The sneeze that followed would later be described in council historical records as the Great Eruption. The force of it sent the bowl of grassweed airborne, where it hung dramatically for a moment before landing directly on the elaborately decorated head of the Paludian High Chancellor. The room went silent, then pandemonium. Assault, shrieked a Paludian delegation. The predators have attacked. It was an accident, Jack protested, standing up too quickly and triggering another wave of panic. They rise to hunt, wailed a small green being, promptly fainting. Floozel fluttered between the humans and the increasingly hysterical delegates. Please, esteemed colleagues, the humans are not attacking. They expelled bodily projectiles at our leader, countered a Paludian. In our culture, that's a declaration of war. Security officers, who resembled nothing so much as nervous gazelles in uniform, surrounded the human delegation. Even they kept a safe distance, pointing what Jack hoped were stun weapons and not actual deadly force. Esteemed council members, announced a severe-looking alien with impressive antlers, I move for immediate quarantine of the human delegation pending investigation of their dangerous behaviors. The motion passed unanimously. Well, Rodriguez muttered as they were escorted from the banquet hall, that could have gone better. I don't know, Jack replied dryly. I think the lawn clippings were the highlight of the evening. The quarantine suite was luxurious, in the same way that a high-end psychiatric ward might be considered comfortable. Soft surfaces everywhere, nothing that could be used as a weapon, and a persistent aroma of what Jack could only describe as artificial meadow. So, Jack said, sprawled on a too-soft chair, our first diplomatic mission, and we're officially declared dangerous after less than 6 hours. Must be some kind of record, Rodriguez replied, trying unsuccessfully to find a comfortable position on furniture designed for beings with very different anatomies. Blackwood was examining the room's environmental controls. At least they didn't decide to space us. Yet, Murphy added, still sniffling. The night is young. A soft chime interrupted their collective self-pity. Floozel's voice followed, sounding even more high-pitched than usual. Esteemed Earth delegates, please remain calm. The Council is deliberating your status. We are confident a peaceful resolution will be found. Jack frowned. Is it just me or did Floozel sound nervous? More nervous than usual, you mean, Rodriguez clarified. The lights flickered. Once, twice, then plunged them into darkness before emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in an eerie blue glow. That's not good, Blackwood observed unnecessarily. Distant sounds filtered through the supposedly soundproof walls, high-pitched wails, the thud of running feet, and something that sounded suspiciously like weapons fire. Murphy pressed his ear against the door. Something's happening out there. As if on cue, the station's communication system crackled to life. A gruff voice, definitely not belonging to any council species they'd encountered, echoed through the room. Attention Council Station. This is Captain Drez of the Crimson Void. Your pathetic excuse for security has been neutralized. Your station is now under our control. Remain compliant, and most of you will survive to be ransomed. Space pirates, Rodriguez said flatly. We're being attacked by actual space pirates. This day just keeps getting better. The comm system crackled again as a new voice joined. The antlered council member, who had moved to quarantine them, his voice trembled. Please, we are a peaceful assembly. We have no weapons, no defenses. Take what you want. A slap echoed through the speakers. followed by a whimper. Boring, Captain Drez's voice drawled. Search the station. Find anything valuable. Round up the important-looking ones for ransom. Disposal units ready for anyone who resists. The communication cut off. They're going to slaughter them, Jack said quietly. These herbivores have no concept of physical conflict. Not our problem, Murphy pointed out. We're locked in quarantine, remember? Because we're the dangerous ones. Technically we are dangerous, Blackwood corrected, compared to beings who evolved without predators. Jack stared at the emergency lighting. An idea was forming, a terrible, wonderful, completely inappropriate idea. Dr. Blackwood, how good are you at bypassing alien security systems? I have 3 PhDs in xenotechnology, she replied with a hint of offense. If it has circuits, I can make it dance. And Rodriguez, how's your hand-to-hand without weapons? A slow predatory smile spread across Rodriguez's face. Well, I did start that bar fight over tequila. Murphy, still allergic to everything on this station, but otherwise functional, Commander. Jack nodded, a plan crystallizing. The Council wanted to understand humanity better. I think it's time we showed them exactly what Earth's apex predators are capable of. Breaking out of quarantine to save the aliens who imprisoned us, Rodriguez asked. Seems very on-brand for humans, Jack agreed. Let's get to work. It took Blackwood exactly 7 minutes to bypass the quarantine room's security. Herbivores, she muttered, fingers dancing across the exposed circuitry. Their security systems are as non-confrontational as they are. The door slid open with a cheerful chime that seemed wildly inappropriate given the circumstances. Jack peeked into the corridor. The emergency lighting cast long shadows and distant sounds of chaos echoed through the station. All right, team, we need intel, weapons and a plan. Priority 1, find Fluzal. They'll know the station layout. And weapons? Rodriguez asked hopefully. Improvise, Jack replied. We're on a station full of scientists and diplomats. Think creative. They moved through the corridors with what Jack mentally termed predatory efficiency, staying low and using hand signals developed over years of military service. Twice they froze as pirates stomped past rough-looking beings with mismatched armor and very functional-looking weapons. The council chamber should be this way, Murphy whispered, pointing left at a junction. They found not the council chamber but a utility room, and cowering behind a stack of what appeared to be botanical supplies was Fluzal, tentacles wrapped around themselves in what had to be the alien equivalent of the fetal position. Predators, Fluzal gasped upon seeing them. Yes, but we're your predators, Jack said, which didn't seem to comfort Fluzal at all. We're here to help. The pirates, Fluzal trembled. They've taken the council hostage. This is unprecedented. We have no protocols for violence. Well, lucky for you, humans have been developing violence protocols for about 300,000 years, Rodriguez remarked. Where's the council being held? With Fluzal reluctantly guiding them, they reached an observation deck overlooking the main council chamber. Below, at least 20 council members were huddled in the center, surrounded by 8 armed pirates. Captain Drez, distinguishable by his elaborate coat and the fact that he was loudly berating a Peludian councilor, paced the perimeter. The station's defense systems? Jack asked. Non-lethal only, Fluzal whispered, primarily designed to contain plant blights. Communications, jammed. Fantastic, Jack sighed. Dr. Blackwood, can you access the station systems from here? Blackwood was already working at a terminal. Give me 3 minutes. Jack turned to Rodriguez and Murphy. We need distractions and weapons. Murphy held up several small canisters. Found these in the utility room. Plant growth accelerators, highly concentrated. Rodriguez had somehow acquired a metal pole, maintenance tool, she explained with a predatory grin. Very maintainable. 2 minutes and 45 seconds later they had a plan. A terrible, reckless, quintessentially human plan. Fluzal, Jack said gently, what you're about to see may disturb you. But I need you to remember something. Herbivores evolved to run from danger. Predators evolved to run toward it. Fluzal's tentacles turned a pale blue. Is that supposed to be reassuring? No, Jack admitted. But it's about to save your lives. The next 3 minutes were a symphony of chaos that would later be described in council records as the Predator's Dance. Blackwood triggered the station's atmospheric controls, filling the council chamber with dense fog. Simultaneously, Murphy lobbed the plant accelerators through a ventilation shaft. The canisters burst among the pirates, instantly sprouting clingy vines that wrapped around weapons and limbs. Then Jack and Rodriguez went to work. They moved through the fog with terrible efficiency, striking from unexpected angles. Rodriguez's improvised staff cracked against knees and elbows with surgical precision. Jack, armed with nothing but knowledge of pressure points and a lifetime of martial arts training, was a silent shadow. Captain Drez barely had time to shout, "What the?" before Jack's carefully calculated strike sent him crumpling to the floor. From the observation deck, Fluzzel watched in horrified fascination as the humans systematically dismantled the pirate threat. The council members huddled together, equally terrified of both their captors and their saviors. In less than 5 minutes it was over. 8 pirates lay immobilized on the council chamber floor, bound with their own equipment and the still-growing plant tendrils. Jack stood in the center of the chamber, barely winded, straightening his diplomatic jacket. "Council members," he announced, allowing himself a full toothy smile for the first time since arrival, "I believe this concludes today's demonstration of human diplomatic techniques." The emergency council session that followed was unlike any in galactic history. For one thing, the human delegation was no longer required to hunch. For another, no one objected when Jack smiled with his full complement of teeth. The antlered council member, who had previously called for their quarantine, now trembled for an entirely different reason. We have perhaps been hasty in our assessment of your species." Jack nodded graciously. "Cultural misunderstandings happen. We had no idea," continued a Paludian representative, still picking bits of grassweed from their ceremonial headpiece, "that predatory evolution could produce such beneficial traits." "Problem-solving under pressure," Blackwood explained. "When your evolutionary strategy involves hunting things that don't want to be caught, you develop certain cognitive advantages. And the physical capabilities," added another counselor, watching Rodriguez balance a ceremonial orb on one finger. "Such coordination, such controlled aggression." Murphy sneezed again, but this time instead of panic, the council members leaned forward with interest. "Fascinating biological defense mechanism," one murmured. Fluzzel, who had apparently been promoted to head of interspecies relations following the incident, cleared their throat equivalent. "The council wishes to propose a new arrangement with Earth." "We're listening," Jack said. "It seems," Fluzzel continued delicately, "that the galaxy has more predatory elements than we realized. The Crimson Void is but one of several such organizations." "And you want us to what? Be your bodyguards?" Rodriguez asked. The council members exchanged glances. "We prefer the term security consultants to the Galactic Assembly," the antlered one offered. "With full diplomatic privileges, of course." Jack leaned back, a slow smile spreading across his face. No one flinched this time. "Let me get this straight. You want to hire the scariest species in the galaxy, the ones you just quarantined for excessive teeth showing, to protect you." "We have reconsidered our position on teeth," a counselor stated primly. Later, as the human team prepared for their return journey to Earth with a freshly signed security treaty, Murphy shook his head in wonder. "So we came as diplomats, and we're leaving as the galaxy's official protectors, all because we're evolved from predators. Humanity finally found its place in the universe," Jack replied, straightening his now respected diplomatic uniform. "Who knew it would be as space bodyguards with dental benefits?" As their ship pulled away from the station, Jack couldn't help but grin at the cosmic irony. Earth hadn't sent diplomats after all. They'd sent exactly what the galaxy needed: apex predators who had learned to wear suits, solve problems, and protect those who couldn't protect themselves, even if they sometimes sneezed on dignitaries.